Facebookis. En la face.
En el feed.
En el face.
That's close enough.
You got it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. That post is done. Let's go to the personal. All right, let's get the paste link post. All right, there you go, man. The fuck are you doing over there?
Much better. Ish.
Ish.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see, what episode number we're at? 454?
454.
Okay. Let's see, we got audio up. Yep. Whenever you're ready.
That's good. That's damn near perfect.
Whenever you're ready, bruv.
Yeah.
Bruv.
Ready when you are.
Good? Oh, well, you gotta press the button. There it is. Ready? Okay. Live from the cockpit in Houston, Texas. It's the 454th edition of Houston Wrestling Radio. This is Abel.
This is Chris.
And thank you so much for tuning in today, guys. We very much appreciate it. If you're watching us live right now in Technicolor on the YouTubes, log into your YouTube account. That way you could participate along with us in the live chat here on my handy dandy smartphone, and I'll see it and I'll read it and I'll try to involve you as best as I can in the show. If you're not watching this live, that's okay. You can still interact with us on Facebook, facebook.com/HWR, or just drop a comment down below. Hey.
Let's go a little bit. There you go.
And make sure you like and subscribe and hit the bell. That way you know whenever we go online, because sometimes it's a little bit unpredictable. For example, this week we're on a Tuesday.
Why?
Well, because Thursday is Thanksgiving, and we're going to be busy stuffing our faces.
With turkey.
Really?
Context.
Okay.
Any pronouns,
Turkey.
pal.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Besides other things,
turkey.
this Thursday specifically,
Turkey,
turkey,
rice,
and other things.
you know, macaroni and cheese.
Glitters.
What? Make macaroni noises?
Yes.
Yes. So yeah.
It feels like we just saw each other.
We did. We saw each other less than a week ago. Last week we were previewing AEW Full Gear.
Yes.
This week we're previewing WWE Survivor Series.
But before that,
In between, I guess we need to talk about Full Gear.
it happened. It was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How much of it did you see
Well,
over the weekend?
Well, right now, you showed me 2 matches. So far, I've seen only 2 matches.
Let me run down the card
All right.
as much as I can remember off
Yes,
the top of my
yes.
head.
You will review.
I saw everything.
Okay.
Moxley retained. Daniel Garcia beat Jack Perry for the title.
Okay.
MJF beat Roddy Strong.
Okay.
Of course. Mercedes Moné beat Chris Statlander.
Oh.
Of course. Private Party retained the belt.
Oh, okay.
And then the 2 matches that we saw.
Right.
What would you like to talk about first?
I would like to talk about Ricochet versus Konosuke Takeshita.
Interesting.
Yeah, I want to talk about that first. It was good. Better than good. I don't know if I want to say it was great because there was just something missing. And I don't know if the thing that was missing was the crowd participation or if whatever was missing was what was causing the lack of crowd participation. Because it seemed like a perfectly good match, but I couldn't put my finger on what it was that just made me go, eh.
Let me help you a little bit.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure if you noticed this,
Mm-hmm.
but we did not preview this match last week. And do you
Really?
know why we didn't preview the match last week?
Because it wasn't on the card
Because
until the
it
last
wasn't
minute.
on the card until the next day. So no TV time to build, just a couple of tweets or a couple of posts on Facebook, and then the next time we see it, it's on the pay-per-view. That's number 1. Number 2, I think this was exactly on the wrong spot of the card.
Okay.
Again, officially, just 2 days, and they can't even call it a build because there wasn't anything on television confirming the match and then them confronting each other or acknowledging that the match was happening.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, there was a 10-man tag on Wednesday, and Takeshita beat someone that was not Ricochet.
Okay.
So it didn't lend itself to, okay, somebody beat Konosuke in the 10-man.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he could be credible for a title shot.
Okay.
And even if the match was announced last week or the week before, the other match you saw that I showed you had a lot more storylines, a lot more story-based driven, a lot more attention, a lot more. You could make a case for either guy winning.
Right.
And in this audience, even if the matches were switched as far as placement on the card, I think Ricochet would have got the same lack of reaction. We mentioned it last week that Arnold is not the only guy that thinks Ricochet's run in AEW so far has been pretty bland.
You know, one thing that I want to say about Ricochet's run in AEW is that to me it feels a lot like Mercedes Moné's post WWE run. So that includes New Japan and AEW, and the fact that
the 2 matches in New Japan before she got hurt.
Right. Because it's not necessarily so much about the matches with them. With Mercedes, okay, it's a little bit more about the matches. Like her matches have kind of sucked, except for, I guess, from what I heard through the grapevine, her match this pay-per-view
was the best match she had.
Okay, but previous to that, again, we're talking about why we don't care about her, and the parallel that I'm about to draw, I'll illustrate, is that her matches kind of sucked, but a lot of it was the news with the Z, her attitude with fans, everything that people say when they meet her at the airport, the shit that comes out on like Twitter and this and that, where she's uningratiating herself to the IWC, which when you're out of the WWE machine and you're in AEW where the best wrestle, AEW is geared towards those fans like you and me that are more part of the IWC. So when you go in and you start uningratiating yourself to the IWC, that's going to translate into your character. or lack of character development when you start wrestling. And the only thing that's going to overcompensate for that is your in-ring style and your in-ring ability. And her in-ring has kind of sucked. The parallel that I want to draw with Ricochet is that he's not as sucky in the ring as Mercedes has been. But he also hasn't been as wow factor as he was right when he got into WWE, right before he got into WWE. I feel like he's somewhat resting on the laurels of his fame from the WWE and his notoriety in ring from before he was in WWE, and just thinks that all that carries over. When you and I were thinking, fuck, he's out of WWE, great, we're going to see the Ricochet that we saw 6 years ago. And he hasn't done any of that yet. Now, that's probably why people didn't really care. That might be why I didn't really care, aside from what you were saying about the fact that there was no build, right? And so I didn't have a reason to care. And then the match happened, and the match was good. But early in the match, there was a pretty big botch from Ricochet, and it kind of set the tone of, oh, shit, well, here we go.
Yeah.
You know? Now, the rest of the match, goddamn, it was Ricochet of old, almost.
Yeah.
Goddamn, this is a really good match. Oh, he's still in the back spasms. But then again, we're talking about the back spasms. It reminded me a lot of the other match that you showed me, where it was like, oh, God, the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh, the neck.
Yeah, the shoulder and the neck, right? So it's like, oh, it might be a little bit of the same formula with the same heel stable, right? Don Callis family did the same thing as far as the overarching structure in two matches, and one had more gravitas and more story to it, and the other didn't. And it's with the guy that we're starting to lose a little bit of that positive equity. So maybe that's why, or it just could be a spot on the card. You're right.
And there's another
a lot
thing
of people were gassed. I would think they were gassed.
There's another thing I talked about last week that might have came into play of I'm not ready to see another WWE guy go over an AEW guy, especially a guy like Takeshita that's on the rise, rising star, a lot more upside. His story, to the most part, his losses have been more than credible losses. They haven't hurt his momentum at all. He's gained popularity in Japan through the G1 Climax, and now he's coming back. And you're telling me that I'm supposed to cheer for Ricochet? No, I like Takeshita, regardless of what side of the line he's on.
I like Takeshita, and I think the best way to put it is that
I like him more than Ricochet.
Ricochet's on probation, right? Yeah. I want to like Ricochet, but he kind of showed his ass.
Yeah.
Not literally this time, figuratively. He showed his ass over the last few weeks with just saying dumb shit on Twitter.
He reminds me of Batman in The Dark Knight Rises. I feel like the main roster WWE kind of domesticated him a bit. If he had stayed on NXT the entire time and been cranking out what NXT Black and Gold was, he would not be a step or a half step behind right now. I feel like he got used to the easier storytelling in the ring, easier lowest common denominator because of your audience, as opposed to Lucha Underground or his stuff in the light heavyweight division in New Japan. And now that he's back here,
like I hesitate to say fuck Ricochet in the same way how I say fuck Mercedes Moné, because I'm not there yet. Because for me to get to that point with Mercedes, it took like a year and a half to 2 years. I'm not at that point with Ricochet yet, but
Ricochet's booking, for his credit, he is not the guy that every other WWE guy has been. He showed up in the Battle Royal at All In London. Didn't win. He had the triple threat match. Well, technically, he had the match with Ospreay on television, and it was a draw twice.
Right.
No, it was a draw the first time, and then interference the second time.
Okay,
Triple threat, Konosuke, Ospreay, and Ricochet. Ricochet lost. He ate the pin. Last weekend's match, Ricochet and Takeshita. Ricochet ate the pin again. So it's kind of like we're flirting this line of, I don't want to hate you like Mercedes because she's being overbooked to win everything, but I also want to care about you, and you
are being underbooked on everything.
not so much underbooked, but physically, he's not the Ricochet that I remember.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. So, despite all of that, it was still a banger of a match.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely on the top side, on the top half of the good matches.
Of that card.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Lashley beat Swerve, just to finish that conversation.
Oh,
that
okay.
was of course. But that's
how was that match?
It was all right. It was a bit short. It made Lashley look a bit dominating. But again, you see Bobby Lashley and Swerve Strickland side by side. You expect one to somewhat dominate over the other.
Okay, and then that could be a good segue into the match that I do want to talk about that you did show me. Besides this other one, because you had said that last week we had said that oh, you're gonna have the WWE guy come in and win. Wouldn't it really mean a lot more if the WWE guy comes in and loses to one of your top guys? Who Swerve is one of your top guys. He was the previous champ, right? He's the newest former champ. And he had a run that left a little bit to be desired, but there's a lot of want within the IWC of, hey, let's make sure this guy actually, is something. It gives a push. Let's continue his trajectory to the moon, right? And he's not there yet, but he hasn't left the stratosphere yet. But we want to see him do that. Fuck, if he beat Lashley, that would have been fucking great. That would have been so cool. But you're saying that he didn't. Okay, well, LOL, Lashley wins. Oh, the WWE guy shows up. Okay, cool. So where did they get that right? I think where they got who wins the match right was with Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher.
Hands down.
And I am surprised that I'm saying that they got it right with this match, because I fucking love me some Will Ospreay. Give me Ospreay.
Do you still love him after the loss?
Yes. Give me more Ospreay.
Which makes the point.
But I don't think that's the focus. The focus is, God damn, I love me some Kyle motherfucking Fletcher. Give me some more Fletcher. You just built a star with that match and with this new look and his demeanor and his fucking shaved head. Holy fuck, yeah, he's not Will Ospreay light. He's not. He's Kyle Fletcher. He's the proto star. Oh shit, I'm hook, line, and sinker into it.
And you can take his character seriously because he came through with everything he said leading up to the match, which validates him as a character, makes him believable, makes you more interested in where he goes, whether you still want to cheer him because he can hang with Ospreay, or you want to boo him because his story makes you want to fucking boo him.
Yeah.
Or at least boo Don Callis. Because he
true.
got all the heat.
He did. Don Callis is getting all the heat, but I think some of that did what it was supposed to do when you have a manager, which was rub off on the guy. And it rubbed off on Fletcher, and I think Fletcher is not second fiddle to Ospreay. I'm like, holy shit, this kid's got it.
Yeah.
And they did a good, right, correct way of doing it. Heel turn, character change for him to make him a fucking top heel. He's a top heel star. And I love it. Protostar, yes. I fucking love it. I love that match. The match itself had a lot of moments where I'm like, oh, a lot of nice little thrills and spills and chills, right? But you know how I was saying in the Ricochet match, like, oh, hey, they had this formula of, he's hurting the back and he can't do it. They did the exact same thing with Ospreay. Again, who won the match is good for booking or for creating a star, but also for the archetype of what you're doing in the match to tell the story of In Between the Bells, which usually, if it's the babyface that's selling a certain body part and he can't do his moves because he's selling the body part, usually somehow the babyface overcomes by doing something else. Putarasu. No, that's not what happened in this match. He got his shoulder and his neck fucked the fuck up. And then that brainbuster off of the rope, off of the turnbuckle, killed him. Yeah. And it was over. And it's so it's so nice to me when the overused tropes of wrestling, which used to be the subversions of wrestling, come back full circle, and now the overused trope went back to the way it originally was, which wasn't a subversion, which in and of itself is a subversion.
That's all this new again.
Exactly. So yeah, you beat up somebody on a certain body part, you win that match by beating up the certain body part. Well, but in the new style, it's like, oh, but you overcome. Well, no, this guy didn't overcome. And it made fucking Kyle Fletcher look like $1 million.
Yeah. For a guy that hasn't been desensitized to the WWE style, this is actually a compliment. This is the most WWE I've seen Will Ospreay. He did a lot of selling. Okay. He did a lot of storytelling. He did great facial expressions. His physical mannerism of his death, the way he landed after that brainbuster on the top rope.
Yeah, that was a really good sell.
Yeah. Him botching the springboard for the spinning kick off the handstand because his shoulder was bone. Yeah.
Now, I want to make a point about this match. But I feel like before I can make the point about it, we have to do this.
Do you know what our current match of the year for AEW is?
Please lay it on me.
Will Ospreay versus MJF, 59 minutes, 58 seconds on Dynamite. 1, 2, 3.
Fuck me, man.
You know what the best part is? Because your eyes are closed?
Yeah.
We timed it the same way.
Did
I
we?
hesitated, and I slowly.
I didn't want to look. Oh, God. Okay.
We have another one. It's safe to say Ospreay's our wrestler of the year. I know
Probably.
we're a month and a half away from
Probably.
end of the year review, but this mofo is like, it has been on half of our match of the year candidates.
It hurts me so bad to knock MJF off of our match of the year candidate. But the reason why is of all the Will Ospreay matches that have been match of the year candidates so far this year, for the most part, they have all been one and done, super indie, crazy bangers that are super fire, and it's just because of the match itself, with the exception of somewhat the MJF one, right? There was a little bit more story there. But this match, while it is an Ospreay match and it has all that stuff that all the other Ospreay matches that we've seen throughout the year, it has all that and the added benefit of making a star and creating a new story that will continue and that wove into it and will weave out of it. This isn't the last we've ever seen of Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay.
Yeah.
This is not the last match. This is the beginning of a rivalry that could last Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. That could be Triple H and Shawn Michaels, right?
So
this could be the best friends that fight and then they're friends that fight and friends all their career.
In context of AEW, to keep the argument balanced, this could be Swerve Hangman.
Fair. It could be. Yeah. It could be. The only caveat I would say with Swerve Hangman is I don't see Swerve Hangman ever being friends.
They don't necessarily have to be friends.
I know, but I think this rivalry will be closer to where they become friends and then enemies, and friends and enemies, and friends and enemies.
Well, because they already started as friends.
Exactly.
Swerve Hangman never had that to begin with. They were just put together.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't follow that archetype. So yeah, I think that could be the beginning here of this, of them just their careers always being intertwined, yet still being established. Again, like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, like Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
I know there's not going to be a lot of time left, but I think this might be the best pick that we have for match of the year from the AEW offensive, and I say it because I pay attention to a lot of things.
Yeah.
You orgasmed a lot more during Takeshita and Ospreay you made sounds that probably only Randy and Porsche know of. You didn't make as many of those sounds watching this match for the first time.
Okay.
That was also Jordan versus Pippen. There wasn't really much build.
Right.
And there wasn't really, they slowly teased afterwards, you know, but they haven't really acted on it because they're both going their own way. But you can still tell there's something off between, there's still something between Ospreay and Takeshita. Ospreay and MJF, the beginning of the story was that match. That was 59 minutes, 58 seconds where MJF took the belt. They had the rematch. Ospreay got the belt back. After that, there's not really much on the MJF side.
Right.
And then I still am under the impression, even though that made our list, that's a long fucking sit.
Yeah.
And this had already, just for the fans that watch AEW alone, the commentary had done a good enough job getting us to the match. Fucking.
I mean, Callis did a great job during the match.
Callis held your hand throughout the match.
Yeah.
And to his credit, also in the Takeshita match.
Yes.
He was on fire.
Yes.
For the most part of that show.
There was a call. I'm sorry. Pause. There was a call that Don Callis said during the Ospreay match, which was something that I fucking loved, because I remember reading Bret Hart's book when it first came out, and Bret Hart talking about how you never want to, if you're a heel or a babyface, when you're cutting a promo on your opponent, you never want to bury your opponent. You always want your opponent to be good and competent. That way, when you beat them, you're beating somebody that's good and competent. And what Callis did, there was a call that he made where he was complimenting Ospreay.
He's the kind of guy that kicks out of finishing moves like that.
Yeah.
He said a couple of things.
Yeah, he said, I never said he was bad. I never said he was a bad wrestler. I said, I think Kyle Fletcher is ready.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. So he just put over both of the guys by saying, he's not bad. He's good, but my guy is ready for him. Fuck.
And I'm waiting for the promo tomorrow where Kyle Fletcher goes, Ospreay, you might have been one of the best in the business. And I just beat you. What does that make me?
Yes.
So that's it. And that's why it's important, because when you picked on me last week, this is why it was so important for fucking Samoa Joe to beat Kurt Angle the first time.
Yes. Back in TNA. Fucking 15 years ago.
Yeah. This has, for the casual AEW fan, there was enough story to hook you. If you're a fan of wrestling, bro, there's 7 years worth of United Empire, Ospreay branching out from the light heavyweight division, junior heavyweight division, to becoming world champ, and now Kyle Fletcher just did the same thing. No disrespect to New Japan, on a bigger scale, on a bigger stage, in front of a larger audience.
Right.
Depending on how many beings you count. That's what just happened to Fletcher. So having Ospreay's career come full circle from junior heavyweight champ, heavyweight division, world champion, having his own stable, having someone young in his stable, and watching the young guy in his stable do exactly what Ospreay is doing. They're in the midst of. Ospreay is waving that torch for him in a sense.
And then that kid differentiating himself and beating the guy, not when his career is waning, but when his career is probably still waxing.
Yeah.
He beat him. Yeah. I did not expect to be so happy
for a bad guy winning.
No, to see Ospreay lose. All year long, I've been all about Ospreay. Yes, I want Ospreay to win every single time. And even when we were previewing this, like, Ospreay's going to win this.
His losses have been meaningful.
This loss was super meaningful.
This match,
This match was so meaningful to Kyle Fletcher, and I buy 100% Kyle Fletcher as the top guy.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
So that's our new match of the year for AEW.
Yeah.
So you mentioned it earlier, so I'm going to validate your opinion. Because Sunday, the brackets for Continental Classics was announced.
All right.
Did you see these pictures?
I saw the pictures.
Okay,
yes.
good.
You sent me the pictures, yes.
Group Gold: Darby Allin, Claudio Castagnoli, Will Ospreay, Ricochet, Brody King, Juice Robinson.
Nice.
Out of those 6 guys, are there any matches that get your attention?
Osprey versus Ricochet. Obviously, for obvious reasons, we're gonna run it back again. That's gonna be fun. I think Claudio versus Brody could be a sleeper hit, right? Because this is a tournament, you don't necessarily need a whole lot of like story until you get to like the later stages of like the points mattering and stuff. But I could see both Brody and Claudio being competitive for maybe getting second or third when there's only like maybe 2 or 3 matches left. And it's like, oh shit, could either one of them just win out the rest of the bracket and steal the bracket? And then them two clashing and having a banger of a match that you wouldn't expect those two to have otherwise. That could be a sleeper match.
I think Juice Robinson against either of the 2 heavyweights could be his moment, even in losses, to actually show that he's a guy that can hang on this roster.
Okay.
Like I listen to a lot of Corny also, and as much as I like Jay White's run in New Japan and slowly picking up what he's doing in AEW, which I need to come back around to that in a second.
Okay.
Juice has a look. He has a charisma. He does well in tag teams with Jay, and he's been off the telly for a while, injury. Now that he's back, this will be a nice spotlight for him. Just because of the unbridled speed, Darby versus Osprey, fuck.
That could be good.
Fuck.
Yeah, that could be good.
Yeah. And then the Blue League.
The Blue League.
Okada, Fletcher, Garcia, Mark Briscoe, Shelton Benjamin, and the Beast Mortos.
Dude, give me Shelty B versus Kyle Fletcher right the fuck now. Dude. Benjamin and Fletcher.
If you want a carbon copy
Uh-huh.
of the trajectory of Osprey's career, I will see your Benjamin and Fletcher,
Okay.
and I will raise you Fletcher versus Okada.
Okay.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of history there that will actually get wrestling fans' attention. Crazy opinion because I'm crazy. Shelton Benjamin against the fucking Beast Mortos.
Get out of here. Okay.
Lucha style
Okay.
against
Yeah.
Roman
Yeah.
Greco.
Okay.
And Benjamin's background
Yeah.
on paper that might look funny, but in the ring could be fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fletcher versus Garcia. You know what I'm
Yeah,
talking?
that could be good too.
Yeah. Fletcher, I'm going to say it. Fletcher has taken someone's place as a pillar in AEW now.
Oh.
Yeah. And seeing Fletcher versus Garcia is
Yeah.
going to solidify that opinion.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really good. Because that's another example of Fletcher being the high flyer, even though he's bulked up a little bit,
Right.
compared to Red Death's ground and pound kind of like wrestling. Well, fuck it. Garcia against Benjamin.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be really good. And then having MVP in the background going, this motherfucker right here, I should have gave him a card.
I mean, Okada against any of those 3 guys too.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, that could be good.
Which could set up Fletcher versus Osprey in the finals.
Right. Yeah. I
there's a lot of delicious options there.
Yes.
For a finals. It could even be Osprey versus Okada and run that back.
Yeah.
But if you're fresh off of Fletcher having a run and Osprey solidifying his stuff, bro. Yeah.
Oh, I definitely would love Fletcher versus Osprey 2 to be the finals
for the belt.
Yeah, for the Continental Classic. That would be great. It might be too much of a telegraph though, but I don't care.
Sometimes if it works, why fight it?
Yeah. Like that when I saw this and I was like, oh, okay. Oh, they're on opposite brackets.
And then
100%.
And
then
Fletcher wins again.
Oh, motherfucker.
And Callis has the TNT champ and the Continental champ.
Oh.
Which raises Callis's value for the next guy he picks.
Yeah.
Or for MVP and Hurtson to get to be like, we need to keep an eye on what they're doing. Because they might be encroaching in our business.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunity.
There's a lot playing off there.
Yeah.
That Yeah, that could be good.
So something that happened Sunday after Moxley beat Darby.
Okay, yeah. We didn't talk about that at all.
Yeah.
You just said it happened and I was like, eh.
Yeah.
I didn't see it, so.
Christian came out.
Okay.
And Hangman came out.
Okay.
And Christian unprettied Moxley.
Okay.
And Hangman had the contract in his hand and reluctantly gave it to Christian.
Uh-huh.
And if it weren't for Jay White coming out, because Jay White beat Hangman.
Oh.
Again. Christian would have cashed in the thing. Is it safe to just say fuck it, throw it on the wall and see if it sticks, and have Christian try to cash in on Moxley?
I think we talked about this last week. I don't think I want that to be a thing because it's going to undermine and derail everything that they're trying to do with this weird ass Death Riders Moxley invasion, but not invasion run. I hope that they really move away from it being an invasion and it's just another faction just trying to improve AEW at the top of the card and that's it. Because that's more believable than them taking over and whatever. But if that is the case, cool. Have them fight the patriarchy doesn't. It's too much of a heel on heel stuff. Like it's one thing to have one heel versus one heel, but to have a whole heel faction versus another whole heel faction at the very tip top of the card. I don't know, man. It seems like it's too much for me.
I would roll the dice and I would have Christian lose the contract to Jay White and have Jay White try to be that guy. I mean, there's a lot of better options. We're still flirting with Darby. At the end, the heels are trying to escape. Death Riders are trying to escape. And just as they're about to reach the truck, Darby Allin crashes into it with his car. And they all like find another car to leave. And Darby's Darby's next. He's making it very clear now that fucking Cassidy lost that Darby's next in line. He wants to be the one to take the belt from Moxley. Okay. There's still some cloudy stuff that I'm trying to understand, or more importantly, trying to accept, if not like. But right now, with the positives that we have, Ospreay, Takeshita, Fletcher, Continental Classic coming up, there's opportunities for AEW stars to go from gas cloud, proto star, actual shooting star in the company.
So let me ask you this. How did Darby look in the loss? Did he look...
Cassidy.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I said Darby. My bad. Yeah. How did Orange Cassidy look in the loss? Did he look like...
You were honest. I'm going to be honest.
Please.
That was the match I completely fell asleep on. As soon as that bell rang, I was on that couch. I laid on that couch for most of the show. I sat up during Ospreay.
Yeah.
And I sat up for the beginning of Takeshita and then laid back down during the first half of Takeshita. And then when Cassidy came out and the bell rang, I fell asleep. I woke up just in time to see the group jumping Cassidy after the match was over. Willow came out and took out Shafir, which was nice.
Yeah.
You know, I always love me some Willow. But yeah, that match, I had zero fucks to give.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it.
Okay.
That was the show.
All right.
Besides Fletcher and Ospreay, you didn't get a chance to see this. Match of the week candidate. Braun Breaker versus Ludwig Kaiser.
Was
really good.
Yeah.
I liked it so much up until the ending because Breaker and Sheamus wrestled a week or so ago and Ludwig Kaiser interfered. And so Sheamus returned the favor and interfered and started beating up on Kaiser, which will lead to a triple threat match that we'll pretty much give a review and rating for in a little bit.
Okay.
Anything else before we do? You didn't watch Raw on Monday.
Right.
Yesterday.
Today's Tuesday. Yeah.
So if the women on SmackDown get a second belt, why not the women on Raw?
Oh, I did see this on the interwebs at the Intercontinental. Yeah. Women's Intercontinental title. Cool.
Yeah. WWE Worldwide. So it got announced that the the Raw episodes that are happening overseas
Right.
between now and Mania,
Mhm.
when they end up on Netflix, will be live, which means they'll be airing live on Monday at noon
Oh.
here,
Oh.
which would be because the worldwide distribution for Monday Night Raw is Netflix.
Right.
So there could be a very slight chance they could run into similar hiccups with the Tyson Paul fight because
Mhm.
everyone around the world in that
Sure,
time zone
yeah.
will have the access to watch it. So it is possible that they could have 9, 10, 11 million viewers if everyone around the world is watching it at the same time, regardless of time zone.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's only for the overseas shows. It's not going to be domestic. So like Vegas is 2 hours behind. That doesn't mean that they're going to show their episode at fucking like 5 or whatever. It's just for the international shows.
Okay.
One other thing I showed you before we went on the air.
Yeah.
This Monday
Yeah.
is the 10-year anniversary of the New Day.
Mm-hmm.
I showed you their match last night.
Yes.
While they're being squashed by
Right.
the Academy.
Yeah.
And then the promo backstage.
The subsequent promo.
Tell them.
Before I get into the meat and potatoes of the actual promo itself, I would like to say something about the production of the way that promo was. That was fucking brilliant from a production standpoint. And it lent itself to have more realism. Because it was seamless, right? It was the match. You saw them in the ring arguing. They were arguing up the ramp. They were arguing into the gorilla. They were at the back of gorilla. And that camera was on them the entire time. And you were picking up the audio the entire time until it was like, hey, guys, keep rolling. This is good. You know, don't, yeah. And like, it made it seem so real. So that production element was flawless. There was another production element that I didn't bring up last week because I honestly forgot about it, but I think it was from the Raw before or the Raw 2 weeks before, something like that. There was a backstage promo with DIY talking about Motor City Machine Guns and, you know, them teasing that whole thing where Ciampa and Gargano, what the hell, you know, why are you kissing their ass? They're our enemy. They stole our thing, this and that. And Ciampa's going off, right? And when they're done talking, the same camera picks up Randy Orton walking out from behind them, and that camera follows Randy Orton out to Gorilla and out to the arena. And I was like, that was all flawless. One shot. This is happening. Oh, this is done. Well, this is also happening. Oh, hey, now it's time for a match. What great timing. And it was beautiful production, beautiful, seamless. I fucking loved it. That being said, let's get into the meat and potatoes, the actual content of this New Day promo. So,
I believe the first word you used was damn.
Damn.
And then the second word you used was damn.
Yes.
And then the subsequent next 3 to 4 words were different vocal tonal versions of damn.
So I have definitely firmly been in the camp, and I'm still, as of right now, after watching that promo, still firmly in the camp of the New Day never needs to break up. The New Day should not break up. Ever, 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 ever. And it's not because, oh, I don't want them to break up just for me, right? I think that, remember what I was talking about a little bit earlier in the show where it was like the wrestling tropes, if you subvert it, sometimes you come back around to where, you know, what was a subversion is not a subversion anymore, and by subverting that, that's a subversion of itself. That's exactly what you could have done with the New Day. Never break up the New Day. Always have them be best friends. No matter what. Yes, they could go on their own separate ways and not be a tag team anymore and win titles, not even be on the same show, not even like have like the same entrance music or anything. You could split them up like how they were doing with E. which they could have also done with Kof, which they could still do, but they don't need to be enemies. They don't need to break up and dump each other as friends, right? Because that happens way too much in wrestling.
It's happening right now on the other show with Ciampa and Gargano, in a sense.
Yes. Yeah, and it happens way too much in wrestling. Every fucking team always breaks up and stabs each other in the back, and there's this big thing, and it's like you never see friends of that caliber stay friends. And I think that it would be such an artistic device that you could use to be a foil to the other teams and friendships and stuff, past, present, and future, to show, no, this is what real friendship is like, and actually depict what a good example of friendship could be. Instead of always like, oh, the brother versus the brother. Like, it doesn't always need to be that way.
But at the same time, you and I might not have a clear understanding of this because we don't have our own brothers. But there is a thing called sibling rivalry for a reason.
Brothers fight.
You can have, not as a loose example, Ciampa and Gargano during their NXT tag run, they were in the first round of the Cruiserweight Classic. Ciampa beat the fucking shit out of Gargano. He chopped him in the face.
Yeah.
And then Gargano beat him. Gargano beat him, and there was a reluctance of the handshake, and then at the end, Ciampa sits down in the ring next to Gargano, puts his arm around him, and hugs him. Sometimes you gotta how does Trump go? You gotta let him fight sometimes, And what if Big E's like, fuck it. If this is what it takes to get it out of your system, I'll be the guest ref. You two in the ring, hash it out. Once the bells rings and it's over, we hug it out and move on.
And that's what I want. I don't think that's what's gonna happen.
I don't think so either.
If that is what happens, I'm going to be so fucking pleasantly surprised. But it's all signs point to this is the implosion of the New Day. The New Day is completely done and over with after this feud. And that is something I do not want. Now, if it is a hiccup in the road, brothers fight and let them get it out of their system, Big E gets involved or whatever, I think that would be great.
And different, because that's not what we're used to on wrestling television.
Exactly. But I'm afraid of the thing that we are used to is the thing that's actually going to happen. And that's why I'm hesitant. That's why I'm like, damn. Because the promo itself was fucking fire. But then it got a little bit too on the nose, a little bit too personal.
That's what I like, because no one on television ever acknowledged Kofi getting raped in 8 seconds on live television, on broadcast terrestrial television, and the first one to throw it in his face was fucking Woods.
It's Woodsy.
So for everything that you just said that you don't want, we're in a company right now that at one point, the most popular and most meaningful title in the company was an Ulafala and a bracelet.
Yeah.
What if the up, down, down title becomes something because of this rift?
The up, down, down title. They're not gonna put that in there, but if they did, that'd be funny. But yeah, man.
They were dropping haymakers.
I do agree with you that the line about the dropping it in 6 seconds to Brock Lesnar was great, because that was still on point.
And that's the first mention of his name at all on this program.
I agree too.
So that's another.
That's another. Yeah. I like that. The part that I didn't like was when it just got to the point of, well, you were just never good enough. I mean, okay, that seemed a little low, and it seemed a little bit too on the nose of, oh, we're gonna break them up kind of thing. Yeah. Because I don't see Kof as kayfabe Kof saying that to Woods kayfabe wise, because they are best friends. Like, I wouldn't see him ever even thinking, well, you're just not good enough, right? I could see him thinking exactly what he said about, well, you fumbled the ball with this, and you fumbled the ball with the crown, and you fumbled the ball with this and that, and blah, blah, blah. But for him to go that extra step and say, you're just never good enough,
Yeah. Oh, you're reckless. That's why we don't let you call shots.
No, the reckless, we don't let you call shots. Fair game.
Okay.
Fair game. Because that could be like an actual criticism. You're too reckless. You're not reckless enough. Well, okay, fine. That's why we work together, but that's why we argue. But to straight up say, you're just not good, I don't believe that Kofi Kingston's kayfabe character actually believes that. And I felt like that was taking it a step too far and putting it too on the nose of, hey, now we don't like each other. And it just points more indications towards them actually breaking up in the way wrestling breaks up people and not in the believability where it's going to be brothers fight and the scenario that you said that I like where, okay, you guys are going to hash it out and then we're going to be cool at the end.
I do have one hot take to end that segment.
Yes. Hot cakes.
I want you to see the seriousness in what I'm about to say.
Oh shit, here we go.
The New Day died when Big E got injured.
Damn!
And if he's never going to wrestle or be an on-screen character on the telly between Raw and SmackDown, not the pro show, not the pre-show, not YouTube, if he's done so, I'm ready for this story. And I think that's what we're going to get on Monday when they do this anniversary celebration. Because it's a reuniting of the entire New Day set. So Big E will be the ref, in a sense, between the sibling rivalry of Kofi and X. And if that's the champagne bottle breaking against the ship Bon Voyage, they've had a good run.
Oh, man.
And maybe acknowledging the fact, again, we have a title that's been in lineage for 80-something years, and then we have a title that was just created last year. How much legacy will the WWE World title lose if at some point in the next 18 months, Xavier Woods actually gets a run? Right. And this is the start.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've got my eyes set on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
Enjoy those 2-hour Raws while we still have them, bro.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
Damn. Survivor Series, again, quality over quantity. As of now, Tuesday, there's only 5 matches.
Right. We still have plenty of time. We got SmackDown between now and then.
Yeah.
So there could be something that gets added on, especially on the pre-show.
Yeah. But before Survivor Series, we do have SmackDown. And there is one match that will very much tickle your pickle.
Ooh.
For control of the War Games match, Jey Uso against Jacob Fatu.
All right.
Yeah. War Games itself, we'll start from the top. Roman, Jimmy, Jay, Sammy, and CM Punk against Solo, Tongaloa, Tamatonga, Jacob Fatu, and Big Bronson Reed.
Yeah.
War Games. Give me a number.
I am at an 8.
Really?
An 8.
Okay.
I would have been at a 10 if the last couple of weeks had nothing to do with, well, who's the 5th guy? We didn't need a 5th guy. The match itself was complete 4-on-4. The last 2 weeks have been fucking superfluous. There was no reason to have the last 2 weeks of storytelling be the last 2 weeks of storytelling. The story has been Roman getting his band back together versus the band that was created with Solo. And if that's 4 guys with 4 other guys, that's all you fucking needed. The story was there. The story was perfect. It didn't need anything else. And yes, I understand you have 2 weeks to fill. And yes, I understand War Games is traditionally 5-on-5. But how many people are in Money in the Bank matches?
Either 6 or 8.
But sometimes 7.
There has been
there's been 7. There's been 6. There's been 8. There's been who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't matter.
I was really hoping for who gives a fuck to win that 1 year.
Yes. I'll fake it one instead. Right? There, like you could play around with that kind of shit. With all of these matches, hell, Survivor Series, traditional Survivor Series matches, 5-on-5, 4-on-4. We'll play around with it a little bit. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, and you don't need to all the Survivor Series winners and the survivors go on to the end of the night to fight the other winners and survivors. You don't need that shit.
Oh, that's called bragging rights. We had that one.
You can play around with the formula, especially if you already have everything perfect. You had everything perfect with the 4-on-4. You did not need to make this 5-on-5. The reason why I feel so strongly about this is because the last couple of weeks have felt like the story, the organic story of OTC coming back, trying to reclaim his throne, trying to get the Usos back together, and going up against this threat that they kind of have the upper hand, even though they're fucking bloodline from Wish. All of that, it was organic. It was organic. It just grew naturally. You had the right amount of guys. But since Survivor Series is on a fixed date on the calendar and War Games is on a fixed date on a calendar in that, and since War Games is 5-on-5, now it just became a foregone conclusion that you're going to have a fifth. So now we have Bronson and Punk? What in the blue fuck is Bronson Reed doing with the new bloodline? What in the blue fuck is CM Punk doing with the OG bloodline? If you looked at this without the, oh my God, who's the fifth guy? And you looked at this 3 weeks ago, a month ago, 6 months ago, whenever it was like, hey, Survivor Series, you know who's coming back, right? Roman. Oh, and it's going to be, you would have never in a million years put Bronson and Punk in on those matches. And they haven't done anything to build those two, to be a part of those two factions either. So why is Bronson in it? Wait, hold on. Why is Bronson in it? Oh, because he's Samoan? Not really. He's not a part of the family. You know, he's yeah, that's not, no. Well, Punk, well, he's a Paul Heyman guy. Okay, great. That wasn't even in the promo. All we got was Paul Heyman saying, my name is Paul Heyman, and here's the other guy. I understand that there's a connection with the Paul Heyman guy there, but we still didn't even get it. Fucking Roman looked so confused, but we didn't get a chance to explore the confusion, and Punk just went in and wrestled. And that brings me to, and I promise I'll shut up after I finish explaining all this. I'll let you have your piece. That brings me to what I think was supposed to happen. What I think was supposed to happen. Not what I want to happen. What I wanted to happen was 4-on-4, leave it alone. What I think was supposed to happen was we were supposed to get the fifth guy, not being Bronson Reed, being The Rock.
I thought that too. Yeah.
It was supposed to have been The Rock. Now, something must have happened. The Rock's schedule maybe didn't line up. He's a big Hollywood type.
He's promoting Red One. He's trying to get people to watch that movie after a lot of people didn't.
Yeah, maybe he's also shooting something else. Maybe, I don't know. But I think it was supposed to be The Rock. Not being the guy holding the Ulafala, but the guy who's the High Chief, the Elders. Because remember what was going on with the actual bloodline. Yeah, sure, the tribal chief was Roman, but he's still
the final boss.
Well, no, he still submitted to the Elders.
Yeah.
The Elders gave him the Ulafala, right? It was oh fuck, I can't even remember their names now.
The Wassaloons.
Yeah,
Sika and Alpha.
Sika and Alpha, thank you. Sika and Alpha. It was Sika and Alpha. What I think happened
is The Rock killed Sika.
Well, I think because Sika died, maybe there was let's not do the Elders thing, because now we don't have the real life Elders on this side to have The Rock say that he's usurping the Elders. That would be in bad taste because is dead. So
unless Rock's mom usurps herself as the Grand Elder.
I mean, maybe, But still, like I think that there was something there. Either The Rock's schedule, or it has something to do with while Samoan's passing away. There was something there that made the storyline not make sense. So you don't have The Rock on Solo's side. Okay, who would be the fifth guy on Roman's side? Probably Cody. If not Cody, maybe KO. I don't know. But that I think it would have made a little bit more sense if it was that. But that's it. I would be at a 10 if it was one of those two, whether it was either 4-on-4 or if it was The Rock and Cody. But Punk and Bronson, just do not do it for me.
So
I'm done. Go ahead.
I think what could still happen, what I think might happen. Bronson, his story right now is with who?
Seth.
Yes. You could have Punk being jumped the day of the show, and Seth is the
By Drew
replacement.
McIntyre.
I'll follow that up in a second.
Okay.
You have Punk jump before the match, and Seth is the number 5 because Roman might not trust Punk, but he has a little bit more faith in Seth, regardless of how Seth left, how Seth broke up the Shield, because there's still that brotherhood there. Roman doesn't have a brotherhood with Punk. The reason Punk is out there is because of Heyman. So you can still have Punk getting taken out. Thank you, good sir. You can still have Punk taken out and have Seth be the 5th person. Because at least that would make sense. Having Seth and Bronson start out the match and giving them the first 5 minutes inside of two rings and 1 cage, encompassing both, is a perfect cherry on top of what their storyline has been. Fighting out in parking lots, doing the fight in Saudi, Seth surviving Bronson, not necessarily beating him, and them still fighting back and forth. So on paper, it would make sense to see both of them start that match.
Yeah.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
On what part?
This shouldn't be a War Games match at all. I think you should have left it at 4-on-4 and made it a traditional Survivor Series match.
Oh.
Because with the story they're presenting, send me the check, Hunter. You could have had 4-on-4 traditional elimination style.
Okay.
And have OG Bloodline beat everyone. Roman being the last guy, and then Roman eliminating Tonga Loa, then Roman eliminating Tama Tonga.
Being the sole survivor.
Roman surviving with a roll-up, Jacob Fatu, and then Roman losing again to Solo.
Oh.
Just to have the promo that you can't beat me by yourself. Saturday night's main event or Royal Rumble. 1-on-1. Finally. Who's the tribal chief?
Yeah.
1-on-1. Everyone else is banned. Roman versus Solo. And that's where predictability, when it's right, is right. Roman finally gives them the comeuppance. But it's a better story to tell than having to insert other people to fit a concept pay-per-view, which really wasn't a concept pay-per-view until you brought the match from NXT. Which even then, you can have a different concept match because Survivor Series in itself used to be a concept pay-per-view.
Matches, yeah.
But you could tell a better story that way. There's been moments in wrestling where, in this new era of equality, where in these like concept pay-per-views, you only need one match.
Right.
And sometimes the story makes more sense or is told well enough. Credit where it's due. The women deserve the time to shine. Another reason why Drew versus Punk is on our match of the year list now is because how many Hell in a Cell matches were there in Bad Blood?
One.
Exactly. There wasn't a woman's one for equality to balance out. The story warranted that and that alone to be in this Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
making sense, I believe, as a War Games match, the women's makes more sense. And the women should be the only War Games match. And the guys, the Bloodlines, plural, should be a traditional Survivor Series. You could tell a better story as a traditional 4-on-4 with the men without the accoutrement of Bronson Reed and CM Punk and tell a better story.
Okay.
With that said, I'm excited to see Punk in his first ever War Games match.
Okay.
Probably be a dream come true for him after having 6-man and 8-man tag with Sting last year.
Yeah.
It'll be a great coming out party for both Bronson and Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
And they have an opportunity to impress me. I'm also at an 8.
Okay.
For this match.
Yeah.
I would be at a 10 if it was a traditional Survivor Series match with just the
Okay. I agree with you on the 4-on-4 part. I do not agree with you with the Survivor Series style match part. I think it should be War Games, but just 4-on-4. It doesn't need to be 5-on-5. And the only reason why I have that point of disagreement with you is because I feel as though War Games itself, whether it would be 5-on-5 or 4-on-4, is enough to. It's going to be more brutal than your tag in and out elimination. That's it. Survivor Series match. Survivor Series match feels more like a wrestling match to me, whereas a War Games or any other cage match feels more like a chaos beatdown, blood feud. I am angry at you.
You forget
which is what this is. This is going to be angry.
You have Tama Tonga Tongaloa and Jacob Fatu that don't follow rules.
I agree.
Any match chaotic.
Okay.
Is the
fair.
only defense.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. You're still wrong, but fair. You have a good point. You have a good point.
Because we're getting what we're getting, I hesitate to say that Team Roman is winning. And I don't know if I'm going to be too excited about that. I would prefer Solo to get the pin over Roman regardless again.
Mm-hmm.
And having to fight and have Solo set up hurdles in the way. Like, all right, you really want this one-on-one match? Beat the Gorillas of Destiny 2-on-1.
Yeah.
Beat Jacob Fatu. Then you get to talk to me.
Yeah.
And then we have our singles match. I would prefer, however match we're getting, I prefer Solo pinning Roman.
You know what I would need on Friday to make the blow of this at least a little bit better. I still think that I would still have the same opinion, but I would be more okay with it. Is we get a very in-depth explanation from Punk and Paul Heyman. Maybe even an interaction between them and Roman.
There's a sit down on Friday between Roman and Punk.
Okay, good.
I think Heyman's moderating.
Yeah, and I get it. Paul Heyman guys, that's the connection there. Okay, cool. Like Paul Heyman's like, well, we needed a guy. I got you a guy. You know, so that kind of makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. I think Sammy's not an outsider, even though he's kind of an outsider on the family.
They've teased online on certain clips, if you pay attention, Sammy might be turning on them.
Right, but what I mean by that is Sammy's not an outsider to the whole fucking story.
Yeah.
The whole fucking story, he's been involved. So he's not an outsider. Yeah. The only other outsider that I would have been okay with, one of two, is KO or Cody. Because that would have made sense, at least with the bloodline stuff. CM Punk makes no sense.
You missed that. So you didn't see the episode at all that last Friday where Punk came back. So they're all searching for fucking the fifth guy. They're asking people, and then they all sit back down, and Sammy's like, "Well, Seth doesn't want to do it," and then someone says, "What about that?" And he's like, "What about Cody? He's old news. Been there, done that."
Right.
So Cody's off the table.
Right.
So,
is
that enough exposition
for
you?
No, it's not. No, okay. I think that's wrong.
Okay.
Because again, that lends me more to the side of, well, it was supposed to be The Rock and Cody. So how are we going to hand wave Cody Oh, well, he's old news, and that's he's the fucking face of the company. What do you mean he's old news? And yeah, he beat Roman. And because he beat you, that's why this psychopath is in charge of the Ulafala. He's involved in the story. He is more involved in the story than CM Punk has ever been. So yeah, to hand wave and say, "Oh yeah, he's old news." No, that's just bad storytelling from the past 2 weeks. Again, all the storytelling was perfect up until 2 weeks ago.
What if Roman just doesn't want to ask for Cody's help again? Would if he delivered a line better than that, would that have sufficed?
Maybe, but again, that still wouldn't change my opinion that something went wrong. The original plan isn't what we got over the last 2 weeks.
So, who are you picking to win?
Uh,
I have Team Solo.
I have Team Solo, and they're pinning Sammy.
Okay.
Sammy's taking the fall. I don't think Sammy is turning. I think Sammy is getting beat, and Roman's going to be like, I told you so.
Yeah. So we're going to end the conversation of this match with this. I've harped a couple of times about how Triple H should have let Dean Ambrose win the Rumble. Triple H eliminates himself, and you wonder, whose side is Ambrose really on? I said this a few seconds ago. CM Punk gets jumped the day of the show.
Okay, yeah.
And we don't know who. It could easily be Drew's just not fucking done.
Yes.
It could be Jacob is Solo's right-hand man and handled business.
Mm-hmm.
It could be you have no business fighting Bronson. I'm not done with Bronson, so I had to take you out. I'm not doing this for Roman. I'm doing this against Bronson.
Yeah.
And Seth is the one that jumped Punk.
Yeah, and then that even sets up all the stuff that has been teasing between Punk and Seth. Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe it could be The Rock that jumped him.
Yeah.
And we have not so much unfinished business, but Punk is 0-2 against the Great One.
Yeah. And again, you gotta try to figure out where the fuck The Rock fits into all this, because The Rock,
especially if your idea is persists that we had something else, and it's not coming to fruition. So where's the deviation? What do we do with it?
Yeah, because remember, he came out that last PLE ago. He did the thing that made no sense.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought, oh, it's a foregone conclusion. He's gonna be the fifth guy. He's not the fifth guy. Okay.
He did do a countdown.
He did.
Which is which is a countdown that they used to the War Games match also. Who knows? They do a lot of drops. They drop a lot of subtle hints in these now.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on.
Passing the baton to the women.
Yeah.
Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, Candice LeRae. Against Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Io Sky, Naomi, and Bailey. They did an angle on Raw.
Jade got taken out.
Yeah, they're writing her out because she has a neck injury. Mm-hmm. Could be out anywhere from 3 months to a year.
Ugh.
And so on Raw, at the end of the Raw main event, she helped Bianca Belair beat Nia Jax, which is going to be future fodder because technically Bianca Belair pinned the Women's World Champ, WWE Champ. So I'm sure she's going to claim something. Mm-hmm. So we'll mess with that. 5-on-5 War Games.
Yeah.
Number
7.
Okay.
I'm going to disagree with you on this point as well. If in my world, what I was saying should happen, if the men's should have been a War Games 4-on-4 match, this match should be 5-on-5 traditional Survivor Series style match. This does not need to be War Games. Because one, you already have a War Games match that is a blood feud, quite literally. Super violent, a lot of emotions, a lot of story. Leave that to them. This match, almost, kind of, sort of, a little bit, but not quite, but a little, when you compare it, kind of thrown together just for the sake of having a War Games match. If you're going to just for the sake of having a War Games match, may as well just make it a traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series match because the stakes are a little bit lower. It's a little bit more of an exhibition. It's a little bit more like, okay, cool, we're going to compete. It's going to be competitive, but it doesn't need to be all of us together, always get along. And the stakes are a little bit lower than a War Games match. So it would make a little bit more sense to me that the alliance of Jax and Tiffy, that's kind of iffy. That didn't mean that's a rhyme. That's tenuous. How about that? I say that. That's a little bit tenuous is baked into there, but that doesn't dictate the whole team. So you could pick off girls left and right until it comes down to Tiffany and Nia on the same team. Is Tiffany gonna toe the company line and be the friend to try to win the match, or is she gonna turn the back and let the other team win and beat down Nia? And, oh, hey, cash in! Oh shit! There could be some cool stuff happens there. That's why I'm at a 7. If it was a traditional style, I could probably be at an 8, maybe a 9. But I really don't care that much for this match.
I think the fact that Tiffany had the briefcase and was going back and forth between shows during the build for Crown Jewel, where they had the so because of that, all of these women are properly intertwined.
Right.
The men's match, there's 2 guys in there that don't belong. In this match, there's technically 11 people, and they all belong.
Okay.
They all belong, which is why I say that the women should be a War Games match as opposed to the men, because every person in there belongs in the match. And the fact that they were able to swap out Jade and put in Bayley, because Bayley's been friends with Naomi. They've showed those videos backstage. Yeah. They've showed the interactions in the ring. They've showed the interactions with all these women. So this has more, I want to say it has more cohesion. The bond is stronger with the bloodline because there's so much backstory, but everyone in that match makes sense to be there.
Yeah.
And I'm at a 9 for this.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm at a 9 is because I have a sneaking suspicion that Tiffany, either during or after the match, is going to cash in. And I don't know on who, because both the women's champs are on the same team. Same team, not opposite teams. They're all on the same team. And Tiffany has tried to cash in on it before, but Dom was there to get her out. So they're all heels, but they still don't trust each other, as opposed to all the friends.
Yeah.
And Bayley's finally earning the trust of at least Bianca.
Right.
Naomi wanted her in. Io wanted Kyrie, but there's still some trust there. And I think Bayley wants some of it over. So I got a feeling Tiffany's going to do something on Saturday. Okay. So I'm at a 9. Yeah. Okay. This is probably opening the show. If we're definitely bookending so that you don't have 2 War Games back to back.
Yeah.
I have. See, this is weird. I'm going to throw something out there.
Okay.
The match is going to be a no contest because once Tiffany cashes in, it's no longer a War Games match. It's a title match. And the War Game match just gets thrown out.
So if it is, okay, I get it that if it's a one-on-one and you cash in, it becomes a triple threat. But if it's a tag team-ish match like War Games and you cash in the middle of that match, does that mean everyone else is like, all right, bye? Or does it become 5-on-5, but whoever gets the pin becomes the new champ? Or
Technically,
How does that work?
the War Games match doesn't start until all 10 are in there, and Tiffany cashes in before the actual match starts.
So if it's before the actual match starts, do all the other girls say, all right, you do you, boo-boo, and let's see who wins. And then after either Tiffy or Nia wins or Liv, then they continue with the War Games match? It's just, that seems so hokey. It's gotta be after.
If I got
It's War Games. Everybody's gonna be beat the fuck down.
if I got team heels winning in the main event, I have the faces winning this match.
The faces win this match. They beat down Nia or Liv
or both,
and then Tiffy has to decide who she's cashing in on.
She picks
and she cashes in on whichever one and loses.
You have her losing? Dang!
And loses.
Wow. We haven't had a loser in a while.
Yeah.
That cashes in. Drew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does that mean the faces will win?
Yeah, faces will win.
Okay, cool.
LA Knight.
Yeah.
Versus Nakamura Shinsuke-san. For the US Championship.
7. LA Knight's winning. I wish Shinsuke would win. But I don't see this as Shinsuke's finally getting the recognition he deserves. This is like, oh, he's a good hand. He could really help put over LA Knight. Let's throw him in there to give LA Knight a really good win. And LA Knight's winning.
Shinsuke Nakamura's return has essentially just been 2 beatdowns post-match for LA Knight.
Yeah.
There isn't much substance to whatever character this is because he has his war paint on or whatever, so it won't really mean much at all if he loses. Mm-hmm. I think the open challenge is already running its course. Knight needs a rivalry. He needs someone to bounce off of.
Okay.
And as much as I like Shin, on paper, the match just doesn't look like it's going to work. I'm at a 5.
Really?
I'm at a 5 for this.
That low?
Yeah. I don't think their styles are going to mesh at all. And,
damn.
And I don't think Shinsuke had the Intercontinental title. He never had the U.S. title. Yeah, I don't think Shinsuke's winning this.
Okay.
No. But Knight needs somebody. He needs the equivalent of Carmelo versus Andrade. He needs 2 or 3 matches consistently to solidify an actual feud with someone as opposed to just open challenge. Technically, if you want to call it, his feud has been with Legado because he's starting to pick him off, but I need something a little more.
Okay.
He's missing something. For his promos, for him to be so good on the mic, he needs somebody to bounce off of him to sell a build for a match. What promo has Knight cut on Nakamura? What has Nakamura even said, even in native tongue, that left a lasting memory to be like, oh, I need to see those 2 fucking fight. LA needs someone on the mic to go at him jab for jab. And the last one that it was fucking Logan Paul.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't had anyone to spar back and forth with that can hang with LA Knight. And Nakamura ain't gonna do it, even through Siri. He ain't gonna do it.
Even through Siri.
Yeah. So 5 and Knight's winning.
Okay. All right.
On the other side, triple threat, mentioned it earlier, Braun Breaker, Sheamus, Ludwig Kaiser. Give me a number.
Also a 7. You had said it before that Braun and Kaiser had a fucking banger.
Yes,
cool.
Very much so. If it's on your DVR, if you're bored,
yeah, it is.
Go make the effort to go back and watch it.
Okay.
It's in the first one.
And Sheamus, I like Sheamus too. So throwing all 3 of these together in a match sounds like it's going to be good. I don't know who I got winning though. I need help on that one. Braun Breaker, I guess. Just that seems like the easy pick, but I'm not sure.
I'm in the mood of solidifying groups.
Okay.
So what if Kaiser pins Sheamus and Gunther and Kaiser are walking around with belts?
Wow. Okay.
And you have the option. Braun right now is kind of tricky.
Especially since he already lost the title and they got it back, almost hot potato style.
It's not just that. They booked him as a heel against Sami Zayn, but people can't help but to fucking cheer for him.
Yeah.
And bark for him and root for him and wow at what he can do. He's hitting motherfuckers at 24 miles an hour off the ropes.
Yo.
You missed the match. They showed a clip online. He tried to spear Kaiser when Kaiser moved, and Breaker ate the actual corner of the fucking announce desk. It looked fucking ugly, and he still fucking showed up and finished the fucking match.
Yeah.
And they've already teased it. Do you just move him up to feud against Gunther? Or if you're that guy, do you have him feud against Damian Priest?
Oh.
Put him in the main event picture?
Yeah.
And let Sheamus and Kaiser go at it for a little bit? Or do you not so much saddle, but do you have Breaker continue holding on to that mid-card title and actually making the title?
Yeah.
What would you do? What are you picking?
I like the idea of Ludwig and Gunther both walking around with the belts, but I also kind of dig. I kind of dig Gunther just like punking Ludwig around. I don't know why. I think it's kind of entertaining, but I don't want it to be at the expense of Braun. So I could totally see Braun just continuing and being the champ and being the guy. I don't understand why the hot potato happened, but
they tried to solidify Jay as equal to Roman by him having that belt even if it was for a little bit because he already has the fame. He's already got people eating and he's selling as much merch as Roman, if not more merch than Roman while Roman was gone.
So maybe it was
just a
separate thing just for
that.
Yeah, but then give it back to Braun because Braun wasn't supposed to be done with his reign yet, I guess. So.
And the one thing that one of the several things that perked my interest in the hunt for the fifth man was when Jimmy Uso found Braun backstage and he's like, "Hey man, you got a minute?" And Braun just like his demeanor like laxed a bit because he cut a somewhat heelish promo to build up his match with Sheamus, and you could see his demeanor when he was cutting the promo, and then when Jimmy walked up to him and talked to him. Braun knew the seriousness of what the conversation was like. You could see his let himself go a little bit. It's like instead of like being grovelly, he's like, "Yeah, I've got a few minutes for you."
Yeah,
and that like perked my interest. Like, oh, you're gonna have Braun team with the guy that he took the belt from?
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
That'd be just as interesting as Bronson and Jacob being on the same team.
Yeah,
because they have in the Indies they have passed against each other. I don't. You kind of screw with Braun a little bit. I wouldn't do it again right now.
Okay.
I'd have Braun still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Last match as of now, Gunther versus Damian Priest for the men's world title, or we'll just call it the world title regardless of who's carrying.
8. I love Priest. I love Priest so much.
He's why I'm at a 9. His character's come out a lot since him leaving the Judgment Day, and I'm liking him. Yeah.
I mean, I could be at a 10 if I was convinced that Priest could win this. I don't think Priest is going to win this. I'm pretty sure Gunther's going to keep this title, and that it's too early for Gunther to lose it, and Gunther's going to have a very lengthy reign. So that tells you who I think's winning.
Yeah.
Gunther. But damn, it's probably going to be a pretty good match. This might be one of the better matches we've seen Gunther do.
And Priest.
Maybe, yeah. I think Priest will challenge Gunther in a way that we haven't necessarily seen with Gunther because of the height. Most of the time, Gunther is taller than his guys.
Years ago, he was bigger.
Yeah.
But he slipped down a lot, too.
Yeah.
So I think Priest might outweigh him, actually.
Maybe.
By a little bit.
Yeah.
Very
I mean, he's at least as tall as him.
Yeah.
So it'd be kind of interesting to see how he quote unquote stacks up.
Yeah. this could be because Priest has been not teasing, but he's been mentioning a lot of the promos that he's not fearful of the aura of what Walter or Gunther was ever since he lost to Cody. So this could be the match for Gunther that reminds us who the fuck Gunther is in a display of strength and like completely dismembering fucking Priest.
Yeah.
And solidifying that the next couple of months is we need to keep an eye on.
But I don't want Priest to be dismembered.
It didn't have to be dismembered. I mean, this match is not in Saudi.
Okay.
Overall, 5 matches. I'm at a 8.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. 8. I think there's room to be pleasantly surprised, but there's also room to be sorely disappointed. I don't think there's anything that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm super excited for. Because the thing that I would be so excited for, I'm a little disappointed already. Maybe if there's another match that's thrown in there, but at this point it's going to be too little, too late. Even if it's something that sounds like it's going to be a really awesome match. I mean, I can't even think of what it could be. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe the shenanigans with the women's cash-in could really elevate it. The show as a whole. But I'm really trying to look towards the men's War Game match to be the star, and I don't know if it's going to be the star because I'm already disappointed because of 2 people that are in it.
For us here in Houston, the pay-per-view starts at 5.
Okay.
So don't forget that.
Okay.
Anything else?
Is this Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday.
Saturday at 5. Okay, cool. Yeah. That's going to be it. Oh yeah, of course it's on Saturday, because that's the same day. That's right. Wrestling Federation presents Santa Slam. So yeah, I'm actually not going to get to watch it because I'm going to be doing ring announcing and/or commentary at Santa Slam in Santa Fe, Texas. So yeah, we all have the technology, the capability of watching that pay-per-view the next day, or later that day or something like that. So if you are in the Santa Fe area, or if you're willing to drive out to the Santa Fe area, remember this is a charity show. We are not charging admission. Your only admission is to bring a toy, or if you just want to bring a cash donation, you can, and that gets you in to Santa Slam, Santa Slam 2. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. The last one last year was fun, and so far all the stuff with the Riot has been fun. And I don't really know what's happening with the UPW guys. None of the UPW guys are booked because they're not our guys. We have a full card. Don't expect the UPW people to be there. Ransom is still on the Facebooks, just putting out these cryptic messages, like trying to be intimidating or whatever. But he's not booked, so he shouldn't even be there. We're gonna have security as well. So yeah, don't expect the UPW people to show up. But yeah, so we're gonna have some great matches. Yeah.
I believe that's everything, brother.
All right. Adios, my friends. Keep it classy.
Yeah, I don't know.